Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage. Today we're working on the 38 convertible again, and we are going to work on making this trunk open and shut and latch. When we got the car, I had the original type cable pull that was kind of cobbled together, and it had no catch on the bottom. Somebody had obviously done some body work and different things that are kind of a mess around the openings for the hole, for the license plate mount and the handle and all that. So today we're going to take care of putting an electric solenoid on there and getting it to pop in the car with the button, which will be pretty cool, and getting it all to latch. And then we're going to fill the holes in the deck lid and try and make everything as smooth as we can and see what surprises we find when we start sanding all of that body filler off. So let's get started. All right, so we'll show you guys what we're working on with this. We think this thing, being obviously an old hot rodder custom, it's had all kinds of lives. So there's a bunch of screw holes here where there was some sort of bracket or something bolted there, much like our trunk release kit. We got our old Cal Custom kit here, and has a solenoid. So I have a feeling that there was a mounting plate or something that held an electric solenoid at some point, and then later in its life, this is my guess, they changed to this cable here. Not sure, but they have this bracket that they made that actually is attached okay, and it does move the latch no problem. But this is so sloppy. The problem is, now that I put a catch in here, when you close the trunk lid and you try to open it, there's so much slop and flex in the cable and that setup they have that it's not really releasing very easily, and a lot of times I have to go into the square in here and open it up manually. So we definitely want to get rid of that. Obviously it'd also be cleaner to be able to shave all these holes up here after we get the popper working correctly. So I'm going to probably just find a good way, make a bracket or something that's a good solid way to mount this. I'm not sure yet. And we'll get that mounted up in there, but it's pretty simple on this car. Since they already made this piece, I can kind of just go like that and mount that up in there, and then use a piece of cable to go from here to there, and bing bang boom, it'll be ready to go. And we'll see what problems we run into. So alright, so got the solenoid mounted up here in the deck lid. I ended up, you could see they had all kinds of different holes where there must have been, I'm guessing, another solenoid at some point, but I opted to kind of put it at a good spot for this solenoid and this linkage. We're going to try and reuse this piece of linkage here that is, actually looks factory, so maybe it is a factory part. I'm not familiar with 38 convertibles that well. So I ended up using the riv nuts or threaded inserts that you put in, drill a hole, put them in, and then you use a tool to crimp them in there, and that's a good secure mounting for that. Use 1/4 bolts, should be plenty for what we're doing here. So this solenoid has a hole drilled in it that you can put a cable through it. Unfortunately, this old Cal Custom kit didn't come with a cable or any of the ferrules to attach it. This already has 2 holes drilled in it that we can put a cable in it. So I have a piece of cable. I just cut off an old throttle cable setup that was just laying around. And basically what we want to do is put this through this cable here. If I can get it to go through. There, like that. And we need to put some kind of ferrule or clamp on it there. And then it can go through one of these holes, and I should have enough extra that we can loop this one as well, like so. We can either loop it or put a ferrule that'll just catch here and work. So that's basically what we're going for, so that when we have this thing all hooked up, it'll have some sort of cable set up. Just trying to do it with one hand here. And then when this pulls down, it's going to pull all of this and then hopefully release it back. So that's what we're going for. So I need to make up some ferrules or clamps. Some of the old ones, it would have just had a one-time use ferrule that you would loop through and clamp it. The only problem I have with that and not knowing how this is all going to work is if I clamp it and don't like it, then it's kind of one-time use, obviously. So I'm going to try and turn some little ferrule clamps up in the lathe, and that way it'll have a little set screw in it that you can run in and clamp down on the cable, and if I don't like it I can adjust it and move it closer. So a little extra work, but it'll make it nicer for adjusting all this stuff that it should work how I want. So move over to the lathe, get that all made up, and we'll see if we can get this thing to start popping the trunk open. All right, so I got that little piece I made, which is something you could probably buy, but I was being stubborn and wanted to make it myself. So I made this little ferrule or whatever that we can clamp in and hold the cable. So I got that all attached. And then I quickly realized that these trunk latches never had a spring on them, because there used to be a handle that you turn and you open and shut it with the handle, and it didn't really need a actual spring, I don't believe. At least it doesn't seem like there was one. So I started looking around and I saw there was a little tiny hole right here drilled, and then there was a second hole drilled in this piece of linkage here. So I went through our carb spring, return spring bin, and found a spring that was almost perfect, and it all fit, and it works like really well. So now we can work on getting some of the wiring loomed up. So we're going to run a wire down through where the cable was, through the car, up front, and we'll mount the button. Steve's working on getting the fuse box mounted under the car so we can get some power locations to hook up switch power, and then we can give this thing a try once we power it up and see if I have enough throw in the latch. That's going to be the question, and that's why I made this ferrule, so that if we need to let more slack in or make the cable tighter, we can just loosen the screw and do it, and it's not like a crimped one where we'd have to, one shot and we'd wreck the crimps. So that's where we're at. Hopefully we'll get this thing working shortly. All right, so we found a switch. Unfortunately, the switch that came with the kit was kind of crappy, and the threads got messed up, so we went in our bin and got a vintage switch. So we got it hidden up underneath of here. It's basically just a starter button switch. In the directions, it doesn't say you need a fuse, so the switch that we put in initially must have been a positive ground, because as soon as Steve connected the battery, I heard the solenoid in the trunk here click, and then the fuse blew. So we had a small fuse in. So the interweb says what, 35 or 40?
That seems to be the consensus, 35 to 40. Yeah.
So we just feel more comfortable having a fuse. So we got to see. But he's going to connect the battery. Hopefully this is a non-positive ground switch, because we actually checked.
This one works the right way. Yeah,
Yes.
This one isn't backwards.
So we actually used our meter here to check. So we're going to give this a try. So he's going to connect the battery, push the button. Hopefully the solenoid works, and we'll see over here the little latch go. My spring setup must have worked, because it did spring back. So
Ready?
yep.
Here it goes.
Yeah, baby. Wow, that's aggressive. Try it one more time.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we just
popped the fuse that time.
we need to adjust my cable, because it's only moving a tiny bit here, so I don't think it's moving enough to probably get off of that. It's hard to say, but it is springing back nicely. Yeah, I mean, all this was working great. I think we just got to take some more slack out of my solenoid, or out of my cable setup there, so we can loosen that screw. And then if we can get this to retract, I mean, it's pulling, you know, that much. So if we can get the slack out of there, I think it'll be pretty good. But that's a good sign. It didn't blow the fuse.
Yep.
So I just have the cables kind of in there, so we just got to take, that little bit of, like, that much slack out of it.
Yep.
Because it was only moving it maybe like that much, so I'm afraid that's not.
Yeah, it's going to need a little more.
Or is it my spring isn't pulling? No, the spring's doing its job. We're just not getting the throw.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was getting us. So
Yeah, because as you can see the cable pulled tight.
yeah, so we need to get rid of all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to loosen that screw up. Oop, all right, hold on.
I need a pair of pliers, yeah. I got one here, you got it?
Yep, I got them. I don't even know how I did that myself without.
There were vice grips involved.
I don't know how I held all these pieces, and
Right.
if I can just get it. All right, go ahead.
Yep.
Just get it broken free, and then I'm gonna get rid of the vice grips.
There you go.
Okay. So
There you go. Yep.
it's just pulling the latch, so I gotta get to right there. I don't know if you can just snug it up so it doesn't.
There we go.
And then grab this. I'm also glad that my little ferrule didn't slip.
Nope, worked fine.
That was surprising. There we go. So now there's almost
That's definitely tighter, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the difference there.
All right, here's your pliers back. And we'll hit the button again. Let's see if we're getting better throw. See if we get a better throw this time. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Much better.
Excellent.
Let's watch that again. Go ahead one more time. Oh, that'll do it. Let's try it. I think we're ready for the real thing. We could still, before I shave all of this, we want to get everything working pretty good. We can climb in through the seat if we had to. But so I think we're ready to drop this down and latch. Okay. Good, latch. Now the seal, that was the other thing you and I talked about. If you have a proper rubber seal on, that actually acts as a spring.
Sure, you crush it when you close it.
So that might be where maybe we try that next, because I think we have one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we pull the old seal out and put a new one in and see if that's just enough. Because I mean, a good seal, that's going to bump it up a bit.
Absolutely.
So we are latched.
Ready?
Yep. All right, so no, that won't. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead. Might not be enough. Although, probably gonna have to pull the seat so we can see what's going on.
Yeah, to get an eye. Look.
Go ahead and hit it again, but
Yep.
I'm gonna try and hold it in so it stays in. All right, let go. That's not quite, I can feel it, it's right there.
Yeah.
So it could be something with adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
So. That was a ton. It's probably almost, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
Good.
Yep.
That's all the way in now. Right? You can't push it in any further.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. There we go. Extra what we need.
Let me hit the button and see what it's,
Yeah.
see what it's doing.
Perfect. That's bottoming out. Yep.
Okay.
That's bottoming out now.
So that's what you need to do is almost preload it a little bit. Okay. Clear latch. I would definitely going to need a seal or a spring
Yeah.
because it's.
That's gonna rattle like hell with that. You ready?
Yep. Ha ha!
Excellent.
Was I filming that? I hope so. Yes, we were.
Nice.
Got the first time. All right, let's try one more time. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. So we just need you need slight pressure
Yeah.
because it opens and shuts so fast, but that works great. So I would say we have it literally sitting right there. I can see it. All right, so we got everything pretty much welded up in the back. And one thing we found is that even just with closing the trunk a handful of times, the seal, our brand new seal is already compressed enough that it's not really popping the trunk open when you hit the popper. You have to actually kind of pull on the trunk a little bit. So we want it to pop open just a little bit. So an old school trick I had heard guys tell me that they did back in the day was use flathead valve springs as a little spring behind the door, behind the deck lid. And because these things are meant to, you know, compress a ton of times and they're very strong, if we cut this to the right length with just a tiny bit of light pressure when you close the trunk, it should just pop it open enough to get it off the latch and you can pick it up by hand. So I crawled in the trunk, measured, I need roughly 2 inches from the little slam panel area to where the deck lid is. So I'm hoping that that'll work. Got a bunch of these spare springs sitting all around. So give one of these a try and hopefully this will work after a little bit of adjustment. Holy moly. Give me the information. Alright. Took me all day to put a threaded insert in.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you lift this deck lid for me? Okay. Set it down slowly. I'm holding the spring and then give it a push. Pull up. Okay. Now, can another person hit the button and see if it'll pop it open? Nope. Give it another. Nope. Alright, let me push on it. Go ahead. What the hell?
Push on it, Steve.
Oh, too much spring.
Oh,
It was putting too much pressure.
Okay.
I gotta
yeah.
take like half a leaf off
Right, you gotta
because
get
the spring's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not enough,
Yeah.
it was actually perfect before my first try. I had it perfect.
Yeah.
Damn strong spring. Try this again. Started climbing in and out of the trunk. Okay. And push up and then push up. Yep.
Good.
All right, slowly. All right,
Ready?
Give it a push. Okay.
Ready?
That did it. That was perfect.
Hey!
Yeah, it barely needs any pressure.
Yeah.
And then we can tune it with a washer if we want a little more. That's the magic spring. Don't look at it, don't breathe on it.
Yep.
Nope, nope, nope. We gotta get it to go all the way down. Go up.
There we go.
Nope, it's still not in. It's gotta go all the way down. There you go.
I had it the first time. There we go. Good job, Ed.
Or are they different, like the series?
Yeah, I have to take a shit ton of photos and I'll ask you again for dimensions. I'll give dimensions. He said it would have fit his grill, but there was too much V in it because 32s still have headlight bars.
That's research.
Okay. Probably the only thing we'll want to do on this eventually is put Loctite on the on the bolt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Although putting it on the bottom like that, I can really crank it tight.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Sweet.
So the only thing I may do eventually is put a, like Mike we were talking about, like a piece of rubber or something to dress that raw edge up, or make a little rubber cap that fits over or something.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, fingers crossed, this thing will work.
Heck yeah.
Okay, I'm latched. Give it a push. Fingers crossed. Yes!
Look like it. Yeah, heck yeah.
Worked perfect. That was
Nice.
it. That was the ticket.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that was perfect. Just enough to grab your finger there.
Nice.
It's killer. Yeah, I'll just put some kind of cap on there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, but we'll find something that
Yep.
maybe look at hood latches or something, and there's, you know,
Yeah.
something for a hood latch spring. All right, so after a little bit of work, got the valve spring set up, all working. This was just something that I had, even recently talking to some older friends, somebody had mentioned that when they would shave the doors on a old custom or hot rod or whatever, they would use valve springs in the door jambs to pop the doors open. I used it here and it came out pretty nice. Now the thing that's a little difficult with this is the spring has to be, because a valve spring is so strong, it has to be just barely compressing the spring, because if you make it too tight, the solenoid is not strong enough to slip past the catch. And I had that problem initially, so I just very carefully took like half of a coil off at a time till I got it to where it works very well as it does. I TIG welded that little washer on the bottom. When I first started, I hooked it all up and put a bolt right down the center, went to close the latch, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And then I realized that the bolt was holding it up, so we had to do the washer thing. So now it works good. So hopefully, if the gremlins don't fight us, my beautiful assistant in the car will... Oh, there we go. Now we're latched. Give it a try.
All right, here we go.
Yes!
Nice. Did it pop?
Yeah, pop.
Excellent.
It's good. Ready to put our groceries in. So that is a huge hurdle. The deck lid still has a lot of waviness where they had done the brazing and welding and leading and all kinds of smashing and hammering, all kinds of stuff. There is some waviness there. I can't get to it with the current inner structure of the deck lid. So probably what I'm going to try and do is use a stud gun or something and stud weld, or maybe I might try some PDR type glue and pull some of the dents out and just get the crazy lows out of there. It's probably still going to be a little wavy, but if we just get it pulled up a little bit. But that again is when we get closer to making this car nice enough to paint. Yes, someday we plan to paint this car. We will address that, but for now we're just trying to get all of the doors to open and latch and the hood to open and latch. Now the trunk opens and latches. We have bumpers and taillights, and we're starting wiring. It's getting closer every day to being an actual roadworthy car, which is pretty crazy. So that's all we have for this one. Hopefully this is helpful if you're looking to do a similar type setup. This is just the way that we did it. Doesn't mean it's the best way or the smoothest way, but I think it is fairly nostalgic in the way that we did it, that it would look like something that somebody could have done when this car was built. And that's the whole goal with everything we do on this channel. So thank you guys for following. Appreciate it. Catch you later.